Hello everyone and welcome to Birchtree Quick Art 03. So today we will be looking at how to create some art with things that you just have about the house. There's no special equipment needed, and I'm going to show you how to have some easy painting ideas and some sort of wildflower doodles. They're loosely based around dandelions and cow parsley, that sort of thing. And you will need obviously some equipment today. So this is just copy paper. I've got a selection of pens, black pens that you might have, but if you've only got blue, that doesn't really matter. I'm going to use a paintbrush, but if you haven't got a paintbrush, you can in fact use the good old cotton bud. That will work nearly as well. You will need some sort of waterproof surface to do some paint effects. So you can use plastic tray, dinner plate. I'm going to use this, which is what I've made from what I had at home. So it's just one of those plastic pockets, and there's another plastic pocket you could use, just with a piece of white paper, copy paper put inside, and that makes a really great palette for mixing paint on, because we're not going to make anything that's really runny and would run all over the place. And the other thing you're going to need today is some highlighters. Now I've just had a rummage around the drawer and I found a few old ones that I had knocking about. So these are the ones I've got. As you can see, it's just a random selection of colours, but you can also use felt pens. They work. Mine are a bit dried up because they're really old, but if you had newer ones, you'd get more paint on your surface. So just whatever you've got lying about. So that's it really. That's all the things you're going to need, so let's get on with it. Oh yeah, I'll just show you some of the things I've done already to give you some idea of what we're talking about. So here is another of my doodles that I've done. It's again basically loosely based on dandelion and flowers. Here I've used the metallic gel pens again, because I quite like them, and you can see just varying the size and varying the colours. And also this one, which is more like the things we're going to do today, just again white gel pen on black card, and it gives you just varying the sizes, gives you quite a nice effect. So you can change it up as you like, but I thought I'd just show you those. The other thing that I've got to show you is exactly what we're going to do today. So if I put that in front of the camera, if you want to, you can freeze frame that and have a look at the different designs along the bottom. So these are some of the dandelion patterns that you can choose to do, and at the bottom there you can see different leaf or stem designs that have been used to create each of these flower heads. This is what we're going to do today, and this is how I've created the blobs, is just using your highlighters. So if I show you some of the colours, so this is my waterproof surface, so you might have a tray or a plate. So I'm just going to colour some of the highlighter onto that. I'm going to choose some blue as well. As you see, it's really quite quick and easy. I've got my paintbrush here, which has got water already in the handle, which is quite nice, but if you've got, just have a jar of water ready. So as you can see, it just turns into paint, and when you paint it onto your paper, you can get quite nice, more subtle colours. I'm going to do your blue one. And then if you want to, you can mix the two together, make yourself a lilac one. And see, it works quite well on the copy paper, even if you haven't got proper watercolour paper, works just as well. So you can change the sizes. You just want to do sort of circles, ovals, that sort of shape. Just echoing the flower heads that you are going to be drawing. So it's as easy as that to mix up your colours. Now that needs to be absolutely dry before you can work on it to do the next level. So I'm going to put mine to one side and bring this one back in. So this is on some watercolour paper. It's really old watercolour paper actually, and as you can see here, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, it's a bit dotty, and that's a sign that paper's really old. Not quite sure why it does that when it gets old, but it's one of the things that happens. Might be something called fogging, I'm not quite sure. So these are the patterns I'm going to use today. I'm going to use a felt pen, but equally you could use a biro, so I'll show you the difference. Here I've just used the biro, and all I'm doing is doing a line with a bubble on the top. You can see it works pretty well. And you could use the felt tip. So all I'm doing is drawing a circle in the middle. It doesn't have to be very precise. Another circle in the middle of that, and then you just do some lines radiating out like that. Go over the edge, makes it a bit more interesting. Once you've got a few lines in sort of relatively evenly going around, it just stops you sort of the lines drifting off at an angle. I find if you put a few in, just helps you get the balance right, and then just draw them with a blob on the end. Now you can make your blob slightly squashed, or you can make it fully round like this one, and then just have fun putting them in. Where you like. Now I'm doing it quite small because obviously it fits on the paper nicely, but if you want to, you can obviously make these much bigger. So you could make one about that big, and just make sure you've got enough paint if you're going to use paint, just to, because you don't want to run out halfway through. So it's easier if you're a beginner to start small and then build yourself up. The bigger the area, the harder it is to get a nice flat even tone to your paper. Now I did mention using cotton buds if you don't have a paintbrush, so I'm just going to wet the cotton bud first so it's nice and sort of soggy, and then go into the paint. Now the cotton bud is designed to soak things up, so you will need to use more to get the colour. So I've got quite a bit of colour on the end of that, so I'm going to put another one here. Say, makes a bit of a squeaky noise. But you can see you get a nice subtle finish. If you want to put some more on, you can go back in and put a bit more colour on. That works, as you see, just as well as using a paintbrush if you don't have a paintbrush about. So I would just go back in and finish these off. Again, you can see if you want to, you can freeze frame. If I just move this up slightly, you can freeze frame the ones at the bottom, and you can see I've done the same thing as I've done there. This time slightly different finish on the end, so going upwards. This one is just a loop. That one's like a star. That one's a solid bubble. That's like a sickle, half moon, and that's an elongated teardrop. You can just play around with these and make your own patterns, make your own designs. So I hope you've enjoyed that today, and I'll see you tomorrow for another session of quick art with Birdtree. Thank you.